Action Park
Media. Welcome to Victory, the podcast. I'm Doug Ellen.
What a monumental
Are you going to tell us who you are?
My name is Kevin Connolly.
Okay, thank you. And Kevin Dillon is stuck in
traffic.
Yeah, he was day trading, the market closed. Anyway,
We got his food sitting here. I mean, it's like...
I mean, Connolly actually...
we got Grenier in the house.
I'm going to introduce, for fuck's sake, can I just do what I do? So, Connolly, did you get Dillon his food today? Because yesterday you did everything for
I try to make the guy happy. I don't know what else to do. Yesterday I got him bagels and coffee. Today we got him a tuna melt and a Diet Coke. And he's apparently, Gary Goldman's been dealing with him, but I feel like we might be getting a traffic Dillon, hopefully.
So,
maybe AG will soften him up a little bit.
All right, so he's introduced you 4 times before I get to my spectacular...
We are
introduction,
8 minutes into the podcast.
Okay, but 200 plus episodes of
190s in the 190s.
Glorious podcasting, and honestly, I do believe that Adrian was our first attempt.
Maybe
guest.
we'll save this for the 200th episode. Put this one. This is evergreen content that we got going right here.
That's a great story. So anyway, Adrian Grenier, we wanted him since the beginning. We're going to get to everything with him. There's a lot of nonsense online. These guys don't like each other. These guys don't this. Let me be as clear as we can. This is our brother, always has been. If he's been mad at us for any reason, we'll ask him and we'll have to apologize if Kevin Connolly's done something
You'll
wrong.
get that to the bottom of it. You'll get to the bottom of it.
What's up, Adrian?
Oh, what's up, guys? Hello.
How good does that sound? How good does that sound?
How good does he look, by the way?
I know, it looks exactly the same.
He looks exactly the same.
By the way, big fan of the show. I think I've listened to maybe all of them.
Really?
Come on.
Yeah, I know, huge fan. I am.
Connolly thinks...
You didn't know Doug had such strong vocal talent, did you?
He is really, you're the star of this show.
The straw.
You're the
what
Vince of this podcast.
That's great. It makes me feel so good. I'm glad I found myself at 55 right before I dropped
Well, you got a great face for radio. So,
By the way, did you hear that episode? Because he claims, in the last couple episodes, he keeps claiming that we had a fight. Have we ever had a fight? Ever?
At least one.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, we of course, maybe you had a fight and I was there to witness.
What I said was that Adrian, I don't remember you ever fighting with anybody. Adrian was always just...
You guys exchanged cheap shots. That's all I was saying.
I don't think I gave Adrian a cheap shot. Adrian gave me something like, well, you don't know what good looking is, but it came out of nowhere. It came out of nowhere.
It was a joke based around Vince's looks. And Adrian was like, I just don't think it's funny. And you were like, well, what do you know about being funny? And he said, what do you know about being good looking?
I do not think that happened. Do you remember that?
I mean,
a version of that.
I wouldn't put it past me for saying something like that, just because, we all kind of had those kind of
vibes.
Yeah. And that's one thing that made the show, I think, so vital is that, everybody was willing to go there.
Right.
And there was a real rapport that we all had on set and off.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't remember that line. But if I said that, good for me.
Why would I make that up?
Line.
Why would I make that up?
It was a good line.
I wouldn't make that up.
Did that hurt your feelings?
No.
Oh.
I mean, I've always been, one of the things, I've always been confident in who I am and what I do. And it was one of the things about Adrian that people need to understand is we searched this entire town to cast this role. And there was nobody.
Finally, they had no other choice. Finally ran out of time and they had to pull the trigger.
It was like, we're going January 1st, either use it or not. But the truth is, I mean, I don't even know if Adrian remembers this because Adrian has so many qualities that are like Vince and so many qualities that are nothing like Vince. And one of them was, first of all, some of the things that we've talked about on the podcast a little bit is you worked out of Lev's office for months and would sit in a corner at a computer, and Lev was kind of keeping you as this secret weapon. And, it's not that I don't look at your face and go, damn, this is a good-looking guy. I never looked at you. I never saw you. You had a large
about
beard.
Being good-looking?
I guess I didn't know anything about it. But all of a sudden, out of nowhere, when we could not find anyone, Lev said, do you remember this? He goes, the guy who I thought was an intern who works in the corner of the office with a fucking huge beard on? He's like my secret weapon. Do you remember this at all?
I mean, of course I do. Yeah, I was in Mexico at the time.
Just
and,
like the show.
Yeah, Lev basically threatened to leave me, dump me as a client if I didn't come in to audition for this show. And I was like, yeah, right. I don't do TV. I was making an indie film at the time. It was a documentary.
Is that the documentary? Because Adrian made a fantastic documentary about finding your real father.
No, I was in Mexico trying to sneak into Cuba to make a documentary about Cuban hip hop.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Did you ever make it?
No, because I had to come here to do this fucking show.
You're like, this thing will be it.
It took 10 years of my life.
You're like, listen, I'll be back in 9 days. So there'll be no looking back.
I want
right?
the world to know there would be an incredible Cuban hip hop documentary if not for Entourage. and I feel sorry and I apologize for that. So, okay, so Lev, because all I remember is I remember you in a hoodie with a giant beard, and out of nowhere, Lev's like, that guy. And I thought he was joking. I legitimately thought he was joking. So from your perspective,
You're like the intern?
so from your perspective, he goes, Adrian, if you don't come in for this show, you're no longer a client.
Pretty much, yeah. You know, and I like to think it wasn't my looks that got me cast. It was there's a star quality, a nonchalance.
Yes.
You know, everybody else was chomping at the bit. They were thirsty for the part.
Yeah.
You know, lining around the block to try and be a star. Stars don't do that. They're just they just are.
They just shine.
People come after them. So I made you chase me.
Yeah. By the way,
So do I.
Yeah. But all of that, I want to say, all of that
And you did.
chasing and nonsense like that really has nothing to do with it. And looks, obviously, you had to be good looking. But the reality is Eric, our intern, real intern at the time, because I remember when you auditioned, I'm like, wow, this guy's fucking unbelievable. But, and again, maybe I don't know enough about good looking, but I'm like, Connolly's good looking. He's good looking. How do we know who the movie
We
star
have
is?
to find this. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
What he's talking about?
No.
Eric, the intern, took your 2 auditions and
Spliced them together.
spliced them together so you were talking to each other. And no offense, Connolly, I know you know a lot about being
Wow,
good looking.
wasn't supposed to be.
I was like, this guy is, and I need everybody to understand this. This is an intangible that you can't teach and you can't have. You were a movie star that wasn't a movie star, and it wasn't because of your looks. You just had this vibe and this cadence, the way you spoke and delivered. And what do you think is similar about you and Vince, and what's different?
Well, you know, I like to think that we created the character together, and all of
sure.
us. I mean, you had to find the character through us, because I remember, you know, initially it was based on Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
And when we all went out to Vegas to study Mark Wahlberg and his crew, like I realized at that point, watching him interact with all his friends in the world, that I couldn't be him. I could never, you know. I mean, I wouldn't look as good in underwear.
Right, just from a body mass standpoint.
I was like, I better think of something quick. I better be my own version. And so, yeah, I mean, but that was a crash course in what it meant to be a celebrity. And I really had to imbue Vince with his own perspective, his own qualities. And you were helping sort of tease that out through my authentic self, right?
Absolutely.
So it's really just finding the parts within me that were the character and bringing them forth.
Yeah.
For better, for worse. I mean,
there's no question that when we got you, which there's a great story to how we almost didn't get you when we wanted you, but the entire character changed. I mean, and I think for the better. I think if it was that kind of aggressive Mark guy, it would have.
Our entourage wasn't that tough.
Yeah,
Let's face it.
well, I like the aspect of Vince, because the show is called Entourage. It's not called Vince.
Right.
Right. So Vince has this quality of generosity. You know, he's giving to his boys, he's giving to his family, like his friends, to giving, like propping them up.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really special quality about him. And I was perfectly happy sort of taking a back seat and, you know, letting Jeremy Piven chew up the scenery or letting, you know, the other guys shine. And
you and I would look at each other and go, wow, he's going broad. That's how you win Emmys. Fucking Grenier. Remember that first bad review that you and I got? What did it say? That like you and I were basically
Blank.
dead inside, or some horrible thing they said about Grenier and I
What
after
review?
the New York premiere of season 1. Oh, blank.
Well,
Said
yeah,
that we were
blank.
So that was an ongoing.
Like an actual review?
Yeah. Adrian's like, what do you think of
Jerry
that
Ferrara's
scene?
performance was like Roseanne Barr's underwear or something.
We just got murdered.
I don't even remember
They
us.
said Adrian and I were blank.
I
so
really
that's
don't
what we
remember
thought.
us ever getting any bad reviews till like season 5 or 6. But I know.
We're the straight men, though. I mean,
Yeah, but-
really,
but-
our character was the dramatic centerpiece
But
around all the
everyone
comedy.
needs to know this. And again, there's no one else in this town that was playing that part. And I mean that in an acting sense. You had something that you could not teach and you could not give. And with first season, I don't know if you ever got this, but I got from a lot of people. And when I was insecure about the show, they would go, is is this a reality show? It's scripted. Because people are like, who is this guy that I don't know is a movie star who clearly is a movie star? And they didn't really know anyone else with the exception of maybe Jeremy. And they thought it was like a real show. And I'm like, no, I script every fucking syllable of this thing. But that's how natural you guys all were. All 5 of you were, to me, there's no one on earth.
We made your dialogue sound good.
You did.
Yeah.
You did.
Do you remember when we were doing the pilot, the kitchen scene late at night?
Yeah.
What do you remember about that?
Well, I was very nervous. I was like,
rattled.
we're in a very bad show that's not ever going to, the whole pilot comes down to this moment, this scene, and we're bombing.
We just can't get it.
It's like not
We missed like the
congealing.
first 8 takes. It just wasn't happening.
Yeah, and we're ripping bong hits of tobacco.
Oh.
I mean, it was.
Remember, I was like, didn't want to use the main water spigot, and I was like using the little purified water one. Doug's like, "What are you doing? You stick your glass under there and get a drink of water." You know. So,
Well, you got to keep in mind that, it was a script, right? And you have to imagine what the script looks like, what it feels like, who these characters are. This is the first time we've met them, and we're building the characters as we go. It's an indie budget, so we've been working 14, 15-hour days for.
Jerry's sick as hell.
Yeah, I mean,
in the pilot, yeah.
it was an indie pilot,
Yeah,
very much
sure
independent
was.
film.
It's really well because
Apple boxes.
what I remember about that scene, which is we're talking about, and we're allowed to say it, Dim Sum Lum, because she is not only a friend of this group, but was so instrumental in helping
She
get
really
this
was.
show going.
Wow.
But Sarah Lum. So the scene where you guys are sitting there, and I remember, I honestly, because you guys know I could go dark, and I was thinking, oh my God, I'm the worst writer I've like in the business. This is the worst scene.
This is
I've
passing
ever...
on Matterhorn, right? This is the one.
No, this is no.
I think it's a piece of shit, and I don't think you should do it, right?
No, this is sitting down and talking about going to the reunion and don't go into my no-fly zone. And I'm watching take after take. And I honestly didn't know what to say. I'm like, either the script sucks, the acting sucks, or something. And then this take hits, and I'm watching this. I'm like, I'm going to win an Oscar. This is like, I'm watching my friends. This feels like the realest thing I've ever seen. And that's how I felt. And
Well, what I think what happened was we were legitimately delirious.
Right.
We had reached a breaking point, and we just stopped trying, and we were just in the pure moment of that.
But we also
scene.
had a side meeting. Remember that? Like we were like,
pep
all right,
talk?
we got
Pep talk.
I don't know. We should do something. Whatever. Cold.
Throw it away.
Throw it away. Splash water on our faces. Like it's just this bad. And when something happens in acting, maybe the first time the crew finds it amusing, maybe the second. But you start getting into the.
Did we have the giggles? Did we have a case of the
10
giggles?
that would start. We went through every phase.
it was worse
right.
than the giggles because the money's chopping. You got
Right.
HBO sitting there going, "What is this garbage?" Basically,
right.
everybody's panicked
and the crew wants to go home.
Yeah. And like I'm going, do I rewrite it? Like what's
late.
wrong with it? And I don't have any answers. But again, I want everyone to understand when you have the right people, and I did. And it drives me crazy when anyone goes, any of these 5 guys were better actors than the other, because they're not. And you couldn't replace them. And Adrian's not playing Ari, and Ari's not playing Vince. And they were unbelievably the right people for these parts. And I'm watching that scene, and I'm watching it through the monitor. And when Adrian does the no-fly zone, you knew it too.
Yeah,
Like,
I just listen. I was take 14. I knew something different was happening. Like as it was happening, you're like, oh my God, let's just get. You could see the light at the end of the tunnel. It was
magical, and it's a crazy thing because you're on a set, it's not real, and it was magical. And I'm like, oh my God, this is a fucking movie star, because I felt it, and you felt that Connolly, who I get it, you're a handsome guy, women love him, but Adrian had this thing that like, yeah, if he wants to go to that reunion and take Sarah Lum from you, that's exactly what's going to happen. I mean, he disagrees.
I think look, that's one thing about making movies that's awesome. It's just. There's so much risk, and sometimes you risk it all, and then it just somehow congeals in the last second.
Yeah.
It's very exciting, and I have to say, thank you, Doug, Kevin, for a beautiful, amazing experience. 10 years of my life, it really did, shape us all in many ways. A lot happened, but we were on a fucking iconic television show that defined an era.
Yeah. Yeah.
I agree.
To be proud of.
I have nothing but fond memories, and I've said this before. My only regret is I wish I lived in the moment a tiny bit more. Like I was talking about like all those times in the red carpet where we would meet first. I was just loaded with anxiety. I just was. Yeah. And if that ever were to happen again, I'd be like, fuck, man, this is great. Like, I never really enjoyed like a red carpet. I never did. I just wanted to get off
What about you,
one
Adrian?
piece.
Yeah, I feel that. Kevin Dillon. Where is Kevin?
I mean, like,
this isn't his show too?
oh, yeah. No, he's the headliner. He's the headliner.
Yeah, he is on the cover. He's on the one sheet.
Sells lots of T-shirts. Sells lots of T-shirts.
And the interesting thing though, and I want to keep talking about the pilot though, because I do remember. Do you remember this? You get the part. Okay, so here's how Adrian almost vanishes from us. We see Adrian. I don't know if you know this, and it's on tape.
Nervous.
And it is literally like Adrian is the exact opposite of Mark that we were looking for. And Lev and I, we get it. We know this is not only is going to work, but work in a better way. And not that doesn't mean anything about Mark. It just we needed a more inclusive, a little less type A alpha dog type of guy.
Us
You know what I mean?
roaming around beating people up in the car.
I mean, it was Dominic Lamardosi, who's a genius, and one of my favorite people was going to be Turtle, and it was just going to be like tough guys. And they said at one point, it's not The Sopranos. Like, what is this show?
Well, we always said whenever me and my buddies would run into Mark and his friends at the club, we always felt safe. We're like, oh, those guys are here. If anything goes wrong, so we were kind of like under their protection.
Well, when they
You know what I
walk
mean?
when they walk by in the pilot, and they're like, "There's the wrecking crew." You're
Right.
like, "Okay, this is not going to be a West Side Story like fight."
When the real E and Wahlberg were in the club, you breathed a little easier. You're like, all right, no one's gonna fuck with us.
The real E's been on the podcast, by the way. We love him and just had a baby, so congrats to him. But we send the tape to HBO
Of Adrian and I's thing.
of Adrian and I, and they go, we don't see it with Adrian. And Lev and I, we're trying to figure it out. We don't know what the fuck we're doing, but we see it and we believe it. And we're like, okay, so what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? And Adrian had another offer on a movie. Ooh. So Lev puts you in this other movie. So now we go to HBO without Adrian. We go into the test with events that none of us like. But we're just at this point, we're like, we give up. We got to do it. And we do the test. And Chris Albrecht looks at us and goes, in the elevator, you don't have a Vince. And Mark Wahlberg in the elevator with Chris Albrecht goes, we have the guy. We have the tape right here. And we go to Chris Albrecht's office. We show him the tape. And he goes, where's he? And Lev had just put you in another movie. So you're now not available, I'm told. And we also, do you even remember any of this?
Yeah.
What was the movie and what happened? How did we get you back?
I think Lev made it up.
Lev had the financing pull. It probably wasn't even a real movie.
Lev's good.
Lev is good. He is
Leveraging
good.
negotiations.
I was still the intern in his office, on the internet.
So whatever it is, I then go into a deep, dark depression that we've now got to
After all that, now we can't have the guy that we found.
And we have nobody. And we really didn't have a second choice. There was no second choice. So we somehow, Lev figures it out. And then I remember, do you remember this? You come to the office, and I guess you may have already known, but I'm supposed to like tell you. It's like a moment we wish we had on film. I'm like, Adrian, you're in. Do you remember what you said to me?
What? Like, hung my head and.
So I'm stuck on this show for 6 fucking years.
Look at this.
Oh, nice of you to join us.
Here, sit.
It is nice of me to join you. That's what you're lying about.
All right, we'll be back with Kevin Dillon. All right, welcome back, Victory the Podcast. Kevin Dillon, day trader extraordinaires in the building.
Yo.
Had a great little, you guys have, when was the last time you guys saw each other?
Live. Oh, man, it's been a while.
4 or 5 years.
Oh, my God.
No. Was it? I mean,
Saudi Arabia.
Oh, yeah, when was that? When was
Saudi
Riyadh?
Arabia.
When was
That
Riyadh?
2021?
That's right. Okay.
2020.
I forgot about that.
How long ago was that?
2021 would have been
2020 was
3 years.
November
2
of
years.
2021.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a long time still to see my baby bro. Missed you, man.
Love you, brother.
By the way, how awesome was Saudi Arabia?
It was great. Yeah.
You had a good time?
Very
It was
good.
all right. It was all right.
We had a
Adrian,
particularly
Adrian and
good
I
time.
had a blast.
You
Adrian,
guys went out partying. You could have been caned for that. You know? No, that's a party in Saudi.
I don't know if you heard about that, Adrian, but I knew the people that set that up, and they're like, we're going. If you want to come, I'm like, yeah, I'd love to come. And I knew you guys were getting paid, and I'm like, all right, so just call my agent. And they offered me $5,000 to go to Saudi Arabia. And
You should have taken it.
Yeah, maybe I
that's a
should.
good time.
That's not bad.
If I knew it was going to be such a great time, but they're like, well, you get a free room. I'm like, I mean, if it was Paris, maybe I would say like, go, but I didn't want to go to Saudi Arabia. No offense to Saudi Arabia. So I saw you last though at Coachella. I mean, we ran into each other at Coachella 5 years ago, maybe.
That's right.
And we had a great time together. So.
Oh, right. And then we were actually more recently in Palm Springs.
We
And
didn't see each other.
You
I
were
called
supposed to come meet me, and you kind of stood me up.
Did you
Wow.
There is no way I stood you. We talked on the phone.
Yeah, I was like, all right, let's meet. And then I texted you, and you didn't
Radio
respond.
silence?
There is
Radio
no
silence.
way that happened.
I'll go to the text
I
messages
would
right
love
here,
to see
man.
that. You never know. Adrian has off-grid phone. We don't know how it actually
I didn't want to
operates,
push the issue. I was like, maybe he's mad at me. I don't know.
No. All right. Well, let's just get to that so we can get this out of the way. You're not mad at anybody, correct?
I'm not mad.
What was there any? Was there
we have
any?
history. We all have history.
But was
We
there?
have good history.
do
we have great history.
But was there anything you were like any? I guess why didn't you want to do the podcast? People.
Right. That's okay. Fine. That's fair enough. I at the time you guys were doing the podcast, I wasn't in a headspace that could, I think, get into this levity.
Come in and have fun and just
Yeah.
kind of bullshit.
Why?
and
What was
shoot the shit.
going on? What was going on with you?
I was going through a lot of personal growth and confronting a lot of demons.
Yeah, and you feel like you've come out the other end, or what?
Yeah.
That's why he's here.
Yeah.
If you got demons, I'm really in trouble.
Yeah, Jesus, look at this guy.
By the way, Kev, you're really selling that sandwich, bro. It looks really good.
Great, man. Patty melt,
Doesn't
bro.
smell as good as it looks. I'll tell you that much.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Tell me what you did. You therapy or what?
I was going through a personal growth journey, a dark night of the soul, as they say. And
Screenwriting term also that they use.
Yeah. So, hero's journey, I might add. I had to confront a lot of things that were holding me back in life, and so I ended up. I ended up moving into I kept thinking of Vince. In fact, the whole time, like when Vince goes to Mexico and is going to find himself. So I was living in a camper for a year, and I was meditating.
Mobile.
When was this? What year?
This was just pre-pandemic.
Oh, and then the pandemic hit.
Then the pandemic hit, and then it was like, oh well, I guess I'm going to continue, because I went through. A lot of meditation and a lot of sobriety and see, this isn't the topic for this. This show, right?
This is great. Yeah. No, I love it. I love it.
So I basically was eliminating a lot of the indulgences that I'd come to enjoy after the success of Entourage, and I had to get out of character, I guess, a little bit.
Right. So, do you think you sort of became a little like Vince?
Well, yeah, because the show is successful. People liked the characters. People, really felt a familiarity because it was such a realistically filmed show. It felt very authentic. That when you'd meet people, they would reward you for being more like the character out in the real world.
Right.
So they would, they would applaud you when you were Vince.
Right.
And so I would accommodate just because it was more fun that way. And of course, it's an enjoyable lifestyle. And I continued to just double down on that and got lost in it a little bit. Yeah.
Well, people are always pleasantly surprised that I'm not as unbearable as E was.
I don't know about that, bro.
You're much worse.
But I'm saying, I would imagine that there would be a little bit more of that on you, and maybe you too, Kev. Right? Like people are relieved that I'm not exactly.
Dylan
like
yells victory after sex.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I
right?
mean,
So people are going to be curious to see
I will
what
play
you're
the
like.
Johnny Drama thing for a free drink. I'm telling you right now.
It's an interesting thing, though, because you came through this thing. And by the way, Entourage went through this thing where all of a sudden people turned on us for a minute. And now it's actually swinging back the other way where people actually go back and go, wait, this show's really about friendship and loyalty. Yeah, they might have said some vulgar, stupid shit. But the reality is these are friends. And the truth is we were all friends like the show, and that's what was even though Connolly, he gets a little sensitive too. He's like, we can't be mean to Adrian on the podcast. I'm like, we're not being mean to Adrian. This is what we do. We will, at some point, just like your high school friends, we will come back together, and here we are, and it's nice. Even though
I've never been mean to Adrian on the podcast.
Dylan is blowing. What do you call those?
Well, it's a straw, but I just I turned it into a dart. And I just shot Kevin Connolly in the head with it.
Did it hit me in the head?
Kevin, you know how I feel about straws, right?
No, it must have been your cocaine days.
I got to tell you, we do have to talk about that though, because Adrian was so far ahead of the curve.
Yes, he was.
Especially in our lives of cleaning up the environment. I mean, Adrian
Oh
used
yes,
to,
I do know how you feel.
like when I would be on the set.
He didn't get the joke at first. He
Yeah,
didn't-
no, I get it now.
Right.
I used to be on the set though, and like I'd be so stressed just trying to get the day, and Adrian would walk by and like grab my plastic bottle, and I honestly didn't know what was happening in 2004 and 5. So you really were ahead of what is an important topic, and now it's with your podcast now, is that a lot of what you talk about, Earth Speed? I mean, about helping the world or what?
Well, whereas before my focus was on ocean conservation and really looking outside of myself to help the planet, to heal the world through legislation and through consumer demand and company, habits and behaviors. Now I'm really focusing more on my own personal lifestyle. Like, what am I doing in the way I live to be more connected to nature and learn more from nature?
Am I allowed to bring, does that involve semen retention? Tell us about that. People want to know. Like what is that?
Well, look, and it also got clipped, right? It's really the only thing in the clip is like the semen retention part. So I'm like, guys, if we're talking about semen retention, it's not a good way to get the guy out to recruit him for the podcast. He's going to hear the semen retention.
We would not make it fun of it. We're interested. I mean, I can make my assumptions of what it is, but really, what are we talking?
What is semen retention?
I mean, I get the idea, but like, what were you doing? What was going on, and how has it helped you?
So you're going to change the format of the show just for this semen retention? This is not a comedy bit, right?
This is
we
are
you
not.
take this very seriously.
We do serious stuff
I
too.
know, no.
But yeah.
No, look. There are a lot of things in life that we can use to numb us or to distract us or to escape life's experience, right? Drugs, alcohol, and sex being the best drug of all.
Semen.
Like ejaculation.
He can't be serious.
I'm serious.
Yeah, fucking and coming. I mean, let's face it, right? How good is that?
But you just got married. Your first year of marriage. You tell your wife like, that's it. We're not having sex, or is it sex you just don't finish?
No, I'm not practicing
God.
semen retention now.
Oh, okay. I saw the clip. What the?
How long did you go?
I did 2 bouts. One
Bouts. Dylan can't go 2 hours.
I did one 4-month and one 6-month.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Full semen retention for 6 months.
So semen retention is basically not ejaculating.
I mean, I
Not letting your
I was
semen-
never a student. School was
But you
never
can still
my
have
forte.
sex. You just can't finish.
There's no rules. There's no hard fast rules.
Yeah.
It's really just a matter of
It's a mindset.
so there's
It's not a mindset. It's an active thing. I mean, it's doing something.
It's not doing it. is what it is.
so you're retaining that energy. You're retaining
Right.
that chi.
Yeah.
That chi.
Right.
And you're redirecting that life force into other areas of your life.
And
right?
you think
So-
it helped? I mean, boxers obviously do it. They'll go before
100%,
fights.
yeah. I mean, some people, they'll jerk off to fall asleep, right?
Right.
So they have that release of energy, and then
Does help.
and then they use it to sleep,
Right.
or so if you are holding on to that energy and that life force, and then you're redirecting it into other areas of your life where you have something you want to accomplish or a goal. I mean, I really do believe that I leveled up my life because I had all this pent up energy that I could then utilize in other places that I was normally asleep at the wheel.
Dylan, sounds like a tip for day trading. What do you think?
Well,
Stop
I
jerking it.
I got to
at the
rub
computer.
one out in between trades. What are you talking about?
So, all right, let's get back to Entourage. But I'm glad it seems like, so everything's great. You're married. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Are you planning, are we allowed to ask you,
Kids,
planning on
maybe?
kids or what?
I'd love to have kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're all fathers here now.
Are
Right?
you
You
actively
got to
trying?
release that semen a little bit.
You're going to have to release some semen to get this.
Yeah, I mean, Connolly and I are new fathers again. Obviously, you know my older kids, and Dylan will probably go down again, is my bet, at some point.
If I find the right one.
Yeah. So let's get.
This guy's unbelievable, amazing.
Yeah. By the way, the diet on him is
hungry,
just
man.
You have been blessed from the heavens with your ability to just eat and
live. Look at his
just look
face.
skinny. Bro.
I didn't eat all day.
He retains.
I had a bowl of cereal. That's not true, but that was 6 o'clock in the morning.
So, Kev,
Before the market
before you got here, we were talking about the pilot. We were talking about some of the scenes, and we were talking about when Adrian got the show. And I wanted to go back to, because we've talked about it on the podcast.
The pilot we shot or the Entourage pilot?
Entourage pilot.
Okay.
So I wanted to talk about, if you guys remember, the first time you met and the Vegas trip with Wahlberg and some of the great things. Because I was talking about the first time I met Adrian when I didn't even know he was an actor, when he was in Lev's office. And then when he auditioned, I was like, holy shit, we have this guy, which, Lev had some genius in there between Jerry, who was his client, and Adrian, that he kind of held back and waited for the right moment to pull them out of the bullpen and go, these are the guys, and they were. So I just want to talk about what you remember about those early days, the first day of the pilot, or what.
Do you remember? I got one. Do you guys remember when we did the table reading at my apartment on La Cienega of the pilot?
Not me.
The four of us, me, Jerry, Adrian, and Dylan, sat around. I lived in apartment 1104, Westview Towers, and we sat around the table and we read the pilot.
Yeah.
On the balcony.
I didn't even know that happened. So how did that go?
It was a table reading. There was no confetti. There was no confetti.
No balloons. She said yesterday.
It was pretty uneventful.
Like, this script sucks.
Pretty uneventful. Like, who fucking wrote this fucking
I want to remind you, it was Kevin Dillon that kept reminding us to enjoy this experience, to enjoy the ride, because you were complaining that you didn't have enough time to be in the moment. We just had to listen to Dylan to because you'd been through the ringer for years, and you recognized how important this opportunity
I knew we
was.
had something great. I really did, because I did pilots that nobody's ever seen, and I've done bad movies here and there, and I just knew we had something here that was going to last for a long time. It was going to be great.
Yeah. We were at Houston's in Century City,
and I kept saying we're getting picked up 100%. You
After
guys
we
were
shot.
After the pilot,
during the
after
pilot.
the first 8 episodes, after season 1 and season 2, I knew it was going to keep going.
Dylan said
too good not
Berenger,
to.
when we were doing Platoon, Berenger pulled us all the young actors aside and said, hey, don't forget to stop and smell the roses, because this is as good
Take
as it's
this
gonna
in,
get.
guys. Take it
this
in.
And then you were telling us.
So do you feel you did, though, Adrian? Do you feel you did during this? I mean, it was really almost a 13-year run with the movie. I mean, did you feel like you enjoyed it? Did you feel like it was like, all right, enough? Or what was your thoughts?
Life is a flash in the pan, man. I can't believe it's over.
Right now.
I mean, I'm so proud of it. I have such fond memories, and I miss it. I do miss it, but it's over now, right? Unless we do a sequel
Reboot
to the movie.
Yeah.
Reboot.
We made it.
I've been
I don't
calling for a reboot for so long.
I honestly don't think it's over. I feel, I don't know if you know, but True TV started airing us. And honestly, I was
Can we
just.
talk about it? Can we get money from that, Adrian?
For what?
True.
You just-
Did we know? Did we find out?
You have TV where you were? TV?
True TV. Oh, boy.
TV.
Do you remember that one?
TV.
TV.
TV. It's TV.
That was probably your biggest fight.
Definitely our
That
only
was your
fight.
biggest
That was our only fight. So, True TV, which is honestly, I know nothing about it. It's a channel. I don't know what they
It's
show.
a cable channel. It's channel 246.
But they just started
on
airing
DirecTV.
Entourage 2 days ago. And I feel it. I was just
Send some fucking
I was
money.
just at University of Arizona, and I feel the kids are watching it again. There was like a 4-year lull where it was like, don't watch Entourage. These guys are animals. And
Oh,
now
really?
Yeah, now it's back. Where
Do you
people-
feel any kind
It
of
got pseudo
resurgence?
canceled?
a little bit? Yeah.
Do you feel a little resurgence in terms of people that come up to you that couldn't have been of age to be watching the show? Right, I have people that come up to you like, how old are
I've
you?
never gotten anything but love for
Right.
the show. You know, obviously there's a lot of crass. Well, it's
But have
some
you
of the
felt
characters
you-
are more crass than others, but I think it was reflective of a time. It
Why are
was-
you looking at me,
held,
bro?
held up a mirror to culture at the time. I'd just be curious to know what the new take is,
Yeah.
based on how culture has changed so
You'll
much.
hear about it. I know how to adjust to culture.
Yeah.
I do. I know how to evolve, and we've all evolved.
Are we all going to be gender fluid or something?
Well, listen,
Dylan is for sure.
Adrian, what we'll do is we'll watch the episode in the back office before we go, and nobody takes notes, but everybody has notepads in front of them, and then we talk about the episode. And the funny thing is, the guy that gets the most uncomfortable is this guy. There's just certain
it's just
lines
things
of
I would never
dialogue.
write. I would never write that today. I'm 55 now. I mean, we were kids, and by the way, we had all female executives. No one ever read anything. Goes, you guys are animals. I mean, it just people spoke differently than they do now, and it's just that simple. But that being said, we're all still funny. Adrian's still good looking. Maybe Dylan too, and I think we could.
Dylan's all right.
Yeah, we could run it back, but
I think you can feel Doug crawling under the desk sometimes.
I think it's this medium, it's film, it's storytelling that gives us permission to have experiences that you wouldn't in everyday life. So,
Right.
if suddenly everybody's trying to control what you can and can't say and what's funny and what's not, then the whole medium dies. So I say, go for it and be honest, be true to yourself, Doug.
Yes.
I am as true to myself as possible. I don't really hold back. But so let's just get back to that beginning again, because I love that story.
Deep down inside, Doug, you're just an animal.
You
know
it. I know it. I don't hide it. But that first story, Wahlberg says to you guys, "I'm getting a private jet, and we're going off to Vegas." I mean, you're in this group. What did you think? Did you go, I feel like we have something here. I feel like there's chemistry here. What was your thought?
No, I was in shock. I was a little uncomfortable, to be honest, because I was an indie hipster from Williamsburg, a street rat from New York, and all of this was very foreign to me. In fact, I had a judgment about Hollywood too. I'm like, I never wanted to become Hollywood.
Right.
I used to come home and my roommates used to take my headshot, cut out the eyes, put dollar signs on it, and put it on my door, and sell out over my head.
Selling out. Right.
Wait, before Entourage?
No, when I would get parts, when I would be making money, they'd be like,
Right.
"Oh yeah, look at you, all Hollywood, big shot,"
Wow.
You're supposed to be a starving waiter for the whole
yeah,
time.
of course.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I mean, just watching, how he sort of flowed through life, commanding, not only people and fans, but just how he just had this nonchalance and this confidence and this surety. And that's really what I honed in on. I was like, there's just a knowingness within Mark that he's going to get the job done, or that whatever he asks for is going to just appear and show up. There's a magic to it. And that's really what I said, okay, I can't be Mark. I can't be any other celebrity. I just have to be Vince or me. I have to be a version of me embodied in Vince. And really it's just about that confidence, that nonchalance, that knowing, that really I think, and then, great writing, and then really highlighting the guys, letting the guys shine, and knowing that no matter what, it's all the stuff and the things and the materialism doesn't matter. What matters is the friendship. And that's what I focused on mostly.
That's what I loved about Vince too. He just, hey, everything's good. Everything's gonna be good. Everything's good. We got this.
Yeah.
He's just so
And
cool.
by the way,
really, when you look
everybody
back.
wants a friend like that.
Yeah.
I mean, they do.
Yeah.
You're like, don't worry, John. Don't worry,
Different
Johnny.
color
We got
cars
this
for everybody. Different color cars.
I
for
don't
everybody.
even just mean that. Obviously that, but he would support everybody, and that's what friendship's about. Was there a point? So at the beginning, did you feel like when we're shooting the pilot, like, fuck, am I able to find
Am I a
this, or was
sellout?
there a moment that you? Well,
Am I a sellout?
or was there a moment that you felt, okay, now I got this. I know what this character is. I can feel this, and I can start going in different directions with it. Or, what point did you feel like I'm really comfortable in this kind of role?
From the beginning. I mean, I definitely was always comfortable in front of the camera. I loved the genre. I was acting, making movies with friends since I was in junior high school. So for me, it really just felt like a fun indie project that we were creating together. I didn't see it. I didn't have the experience that Dylan had in Hollywood, or even Kevin. So for me, we were just making a good piece of art work.
Right.
That being said, I wouldn't necessarily have written some of those lines. I mean, that wouldn't be the kind of art that I would have created.
It takes an animal to write those lines.
Real savage to write some of that dialogue.
I think Dylan, he improv'd the vagina's my third favorite hole.
Well,
Some of them.
the truth is, it is mine. No.
But
I could have never. I'm so glad that I didn't have to say those lines. So.
But that's why I say it. But also, just for anyone listening out there, it was very deliberate that the two guys, Vince and E, who actually got women, were never disparaging towards women. It was the two guys, no offense, that couldn't get girls.
Yeah, they're all shooting a look at me right now.
That would say those types of comments. And that was a very, obviously that's designed, and we've seen it in other movies as well.
I always wanted the lines, too. I was like, give them to me. Give me all the bad lines.
Yeah.
I want those.
Because it works for you because you're the guy we empathize with who's struggling. And, but if Vince was walking around talking like that,
then Turtle became like the nice guy who was getting girls too. So I got even more of the filthy lines, which is better for me.
Do you guys remember when Dylan hijacked the trout pond line from Jerry?
I didn't hijack it. I didn't even want to take it.
There was a meeting, a side meeting.
This is the Kimmel episode.
Yeah, but I wasn't in that
episode
meeting.
3.
I wasn't in that meeting.
No,
was the meatheads. Sorry, no offense, Doug.
Sorry, Doug.
We called the meatheads all the producers and writers.
Yeah, I mean on the
Jerry,
pilot.
Jerry took it on the chin and said, "Okay." Yeah, but he wasn't happy about it.
It's interesting because we've talked about that before, and the story might change each time I say it. But what I recall now is it's just such a Johnny drama line, and it was.
Dylan might have said, "Maybe this is a typo. Maybe this is supposed to."
No. I felt bad. I didn't want to take it. I didn't want to take it from Jerry, so I didn't even want to say the line because I felt,
Yeah. Well, I just.
But you guys made me do it.
But that episode 3, which and Dylan has said it repeatedly, even though I disagree with him about the first couple of episodes of the show. But that episode was a step up for us, which is the Jimmy Kimmel episode.
Oh,
you
no
and
doubt.
Sarah Foster on the stage, and I really do. I watch it now, which we did when we did the podcast, and honestly, it's not just your looks. Like he's on that Jimmy Kimmel show, and it's like, this is a movie star. This is a guy and a thing. Yeah. And what's so weird is you played, was the Woody Allen movie called Entourage?
Celebrity.
Mm-hmm. So you were in an Entourage, like a rival, like the Leo's Entourage, right?
I was one of Leo's entourage in the movie Celebrity. Yeah.
It's wild. I mean, that's very interesting.
That's something too. Adrian, you pretty well, you've done some things before Entourage. I mean, you did a couple big movies, right? I mean, you did the... Harvard Man. Harvard Man, Drive Me Crazy. Those 2 studio movies, right?
Listen, Adrian,
You were in AI, but I don't know if you made the cut, though, right?
Yeah.
Is that a...
Well, no, that's a whole nother story.
Because I remember...
Why? What happened in AI?
Oh, man.
The Spielberg movie?
Yeah.
Should I not have brought that up? We ran into Spielberg at the Golden Globes.
Ran into him.
And you said hi to Spielberg, and I was like, "Wow, you know him?"
Whatever.
Introduce me, bro.
This is very uncomfortable. How do you know Spielberg? Introduce me, bro.
But he's not like drama at all.
So Spielberg offered me a role in the upcoming AI, right? And I was like, all right, yeah, great. And so I'm like, well, I live in New York, so you put me up, and and he's like, no, it's got to be a local hire. So I'm like, all right. So
In a Spielberg movie?
they're trying to save money. I don't know. They only have too much. And so I flew myself out, and I was putting myself up in a hotel, and it was 1 week I was supposed to be there, and then they pushed it another week. Okay, so another week in a hotel. They pushed it for like 4 months. Finally, I show up on set.
And you're paying for all this.
Yeah, I pay for all of it.
Right.
I show up on set. I get to my trailer, and it's all top secret too. Like I didn't even read the script because everything is, no one gets to read anything until you show up on set. So I get to set, and it's in an envelope, a sealed envelope. I have to sign for it, whatever.
Holy shit.
But just the scene.
Just the scene. So I open it up, and I have one line. I have one line.
Oh, God.
2 words.
Wow.
2 words. Get in. Get in where the and so I'm like, what the fuck? Like it just felt disrespectful.
It is wildly disrespectful.
So, are you in the movie with those 2
Yeah,
words?
I'm in.
I mean,
I did. By the way, I did a great job too.
you crushed it.
Because I did such a good job that
in.
people come up to me.
I'm in.
And say something. about
They
AI.
always say, "Hey, you were in AI." I'm like, "Are you serious?"
I mean, that. By the way, that
I
is
take the credit though. I'll
amazing-
take the credit. When you look at my IMDb, it looks pretty legit.
It does, but that's
Some
an
good
amazing
residuals on that one too. I bet.
Why would they do that?
Did the residuals cover your hotel expenses for 4 fucking
We worked
months?
it out. Let me put it to you that way. We worked it out.
I'll
And
say though
got
that
a
is
deal?
You know
We
what? Though, it is one of the interesting things, and that's such a Johnny drama story because it is so rude, and the things that actors have to go through until they make it, and of course nobody would have said no, but okay, Steven, I'll just keep paying for hotels that I can't afford and wait for this one line, and then you open it up. What was your? I mean,
Yeah, we need to deep dive this, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, were you just like floored, and were you able to pull it together for when you went to set?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a professional. I did my job, and I left. I called my agent, and my lawyers got on the phone. And
Very professional.
We sent them a letter.
We sued his fucking ass.
By the way, we're still litigating this case.
Look, we settled out of court. I'll tell you, put it that way.
Well, let me tell you all this.
Does
Well, he
anybody
seemed
apologize?
friendly to you
Hold
when
on
you
a second.
said
I'm
hi
sorry.
to him.
I'm sure he had nothing to do with it.
He had nothing
He had
to do with
nothing
it.
to do with
There's
it.
no
It was
way.
the producers trying to skimp on cash, and
Yeah.
that makes of course.
But
they are.
also, like, hey, Adrian, we really love you, and it's a small thing. It's a couple.
Right.
It's one line. We'd love to have you do it.
right.
Why wouldn't they just say that?
Exactly.
It's a terrible story, and I
terrible
hope
story.
nobody goes through that. Did just because he
I
said,
can't
"Hey,
believe I didn't
Adrian"?
know that.
Did Kevin Dillon first time he meets you go, "Yo, Adrian"?
I think he still does. I mean,
Hey, yo, Adrian.
They claim this story.
Well, I always. Go
I don't
back.
think you even
I'm sure that
remember
was
it.
super original. He's
Because
probably
you didn't
never heard
remember
that
it the
one.
day after, so
Well,
we were doing a little drinking.
you're
so.
not the only one. I mean,
It's not the first time you've heard that.
Yeah, so it's like,
He's
okay,
heard that his
cool.
whole life.
But what he claims is, or Connolly does, that you said never again. Don't ever.
Yeah, you did. You did. And what I said was, yo, Adrian.
You would never say that. These stories of Adrian as this aggressive brute.
No, he wasn't aggressive. He was just like,
Passive
he
aggressive.
didn't want to hear it anymore.
Passive. Right. It's like you can't possibly think that that's funny or that's the first time I've heard that.
But of course, I'm the guy who's going to have to say
course.
it again. Because
Right.
you
Wait,
told
wait.
me not to.
So you're claiming that I said that to you? I mean, if I said it was in jest.
Yeah, that's what I said.
maybe, yeah.
He's just as
He should make it like it. I didn't say he was aggressive about it.
Connolly might have said it. Connolly was kind of like, he's like, you say that again, I'm going to bust you in the head.
No,
I mean, that's what it felt
what
like.
I said was that it was like a little bit of was he serious kind of a
You
thing.
get one pass, guy.
Don't let that happen again. Don't let it happen again.
Hey, yo, Adrian.
So, guys, you spent so much time together. You know, what the show was like was almost off camera. What are some of the best moments you guys had off camera? I mean, we traveled to
Well, I think just
Cannes.
for starters, we just all hit it off right away, I feel. Right? Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
I feel like
Absolutely.
Yeah.
the four guys were just boom.
Yeah, chemistry.
Instantly, I felt like I
We
knew
have good
these guys
chemistry.
forever. Yeah.
And the other thing too, which is worth mentioning, and this is a credit to Kevin as well. The fact that things were always so equal made it for an easier. I don't know. We were like one.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
were. We were
everyone
one.
had
We were
their-
one unit.
Everyone had their thing to
Kevin,
do.
you could have maybe
Ew,
said
a
like
unit.
Ew.
Why are you talking about units?
Love a good unit. What are you talking about?
We're still so immature.
I'm trying to. By the way, I'm trying to compliment the guy. Like you could have, Dylan. You could have probably kicked up a little dust and said like, "Hey,
Wishes he did
I could
now.
have gotten.
He's like-
I could have gotten paid more. I know that. I took one for the team to
That's what
keep
I'm saying.
us all together.
But
at
it
the-
did. Everybody felt we were a united front because
I don't know that we got more out of that though. I thought, as a group, we'll be stronger. We'll be able to go further. We'll get an extra season or so. Never really worked out that way. So I took one for the team, and
got
the
nothing.
I
team
wish I
never
had
got
that
that
one.
extra season that I wished we'd get.
Son of a bitches. Those
Yeah.
bastards.
That's why I'm a day trader today. That's why.
Thanks a lot, HBO.
You gotta get me away from
So what
day
were
trading.
what are your best moments though? Like, I mean, we went to Cannes, we went to Vegas, we went to Sundance. Just on set here, like what was some of the best times you guys had, and any good stories that
Adrian, you remember when you and I got in trouble because we left the Cannes party in our tuxedos to go to a real party?
that was a good time.
Wait,
And-
what happened?
Wait. What happened?
So we were dressed. We had our nice outfits on, and we were shooting a Cannes. And when we wrapped, there was like a party down the block, and Adrian and I just were in hair and makeup. So we went to the party in
Looking
our clothes,
great.
and they were like waiting for
Amy,
us.
No, Amy pulled us aside and was like, "No red wine,
Right.
No red wine, please, because you have to wear these first thing in the morning tomorrow."
Right.
And we went to the party, and what were they serving? Red wine, like nothing but red
Adrian and I
wine.
were like walking through the crowd like this. But there was a bit of a welcoming committee. We got a talking to, Adrian and I.
That was a good night, though.
That was fun.
What
I mean,
does that mean,
I
you
think I
gotta
pulled
talk?
an
Somebody
all-nighter.
was
I don't
like,
get it.
somebody was like, we got reprimanded for leaving in our, not reprimanded, but we got talked to.
Well, it was very unprofessional.
So
Yeah,
Not inviting me. It was fucked
Well,
up.
I remember that night. Like, I ended up staying out most of the night.
No, you?
Didn't end up going home exactly, and then rolled up to set in my costume, set ready.
From the night before.
Like,
Wow.
yeah, ready for the
Still
scene.
wearing your makeup.
absolute animals.
By the way, I
mean,
think that's what happened with me too. We got in trouble. We got in trouble. I mean, we were out. I mean, it was a quick turnaround.
I don't remember that getting in trouble.
Not in trouble, but
Who do you get in trouble from?
We got talked to by who would it have been? Wayne.
That's what you also got to remember.
Maybe
that
one of the
these
French
days.
producers.
You guys were great though. You got to remember that also. Like you can get on a TV show where the stars essentially they sort of have all the leverage unless you're going to fire them. And these guys were always respectful. Like
here's the thing:
the adults.
A lot of these scenes we were essentially set pieces. You know, there's like the huge red carpet with George Clooney walking in. We're like on the red carpet. You know, there's not really
much to do.
Right. So it's kind of hard to just, you know, you're at
France.
Well, no, you're at the actual Cannes Film Festival, and you know you want to go enjoy it a little bit.
I bet you were a little more professional on Spielberg's set than mine. I don't know. With the one
I'm
line.
still floored.
Get
I
in.
can't believe I did not know that story. That's
unreal.
unbelievable.
Adrian, were
Well,
you drinking?
If you go, no, I'm just saying it. Like if you go to the U2 concert, which we did, you know, you're going to watch the U2 concert as
we
well,
did.
right?
Yeah.
So
Sneak a couple beers along the
Felt
way.
weird drinking fake beer at the U2 concert.
We didn't drink fake.
Yeah,
I
what-
know that. That's
Dylan drank bottles of whiskey at the YouTube.
We
concert.
were all really drinking beer
It's like-
at the Laker game when we were on the floor.
of course. What were we
Dylan still
supposed to drink?
denies that he
Near
was
beer?
pissing in a cup when Bono said "Happy Birthday, Johnny Drama," and I was like, "Dylan,
Not at the same time.
But
Matter
at a
of fact, the lights turned off. I regrouped everyone because I knew they didn't get it on camera.
It was one of the,
So
yes,
it's
you
like,
did.
guys, let's get together, react like you just heard it for the first time. We all went, oh, we all jumped around.
Dylan does not lie.
That is
he
the truth.
knocked that one over the goal line. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
crushed it. And that was, by the way, that was my birthday, which will be tomorrow. So that was whatever year that was.
And then he
18
broke
years
and
ago.
Then,
It's crazy.
and then he broke his arm on your next birthday.
Yeah.
That's what I do for you, Doug.
You know what? You've given me some great birthdays, all of you guys. Adrian, I need an answer to this question. Runway, Tarmac, season 1, saying goodbye to Connolly. You two were fucking hammered.
No,
Were
listen.
you-
There was some grippuccinos involved in that one.
You know what happened? What happened was it was the last take of the night. They said, "Let's do them without the
Without
the
what?
engines,
Without
They
the-
said,
the
"Let's do
plane
it
engines
without
going." That's
plane
when they were
engines
exposed.
to help our slurred speed."
You guys were totally exposed as soon as they turned off the
They
engine.
turned up the engine, Adrian. We're like, "Holy shit!" They were like, "All right, that's a wrap. We'll figure out the sound on one of those other takes."
I think I remember, like, Adrian, he's wearing, like, either a blue suede or blue leather jacket. And I remember just looking at him, and I'm like, are you fucked up? Like, what is going on here, you know?
We started hysterical laughing when we ran that first take with the engines off. We just started dying because it was so obvious.
I think there were a couple moments where we would shoot so late. And then we'd be like, all right, I'm done, so I can sort of relax.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, actually, we're going to shoot it again.
Yeah, that would happen.
Yeah. You're
So
like,
there
what
was
are
a
you talking
reason.
about?
That
We were
would
done.
usually be Doug would show up on the set and be like, wait, I didn't see it.
the whole
Do it again.
No, that is ridiculous. Well, that was one night I remember being like terrified we weren't going to get shit. And but still, I do believe that.
What, you two? You talking about the you two?
No, the plane season, the season 8, episode 8 of season 1. But it was
That was
all,
an embarrassing moment for me when I had to get tackled by Kevin Connolly and act like he could actually knock me over. Remember?
Here's another
came
time.
running up into the plane and you tackled me.
Here's another time we got exposed when Dylan. Remember when you dropped your drink at the bar mitzvah on a Friday night? It's a Friday night. It's
Wait.
late. In
not
the
at the
Friday
bar
night.
at the bar mitzvah episode.
The bar mitzvah
Okay,
episode,
yeah.
and we're all kind of hanging out, and it's
I
just that.
remember
It's
this.
just that time. It was just that time. Same thing. Music.
all our
wide
heavy
shot,
lifting was done.
Wide shot. Nothing too pressing. Like we're just here. So we start having a couple bevies, and Dylan's beer just slips out of his hand and explodes on the ground. And it was like, music off. Everybody looked at us.
And I blamed you, didn't I?
I was like,
I was
oh,
like,
boy.
Connolly.
Connolly just knocked my beer over because he's hammered. I'm like, no, Dylan, you dropped your beer. Oh, man.
So crazy. How was the Sundance experience? Like, I mean, what's so crazy? Do you remember this? We shoot a scene where Adrian goes and comes out with some gifting stuff for the suites. And then, not to get political, but then the New York Times, those full of shit liars, they post a picture of you and say celebrities getting gifts at the luxury suites, which was not. It was actually a scene
was
from
props.
a show. It was props. He got shit by the way. Do you remember that episode? Anything specific about it? Because that was, to me, one of the most fun times I've ever had
I
on
got
a set.
something that you guys did to Grenier and I. And it was when Adrian says, you want to roll the dice, right? So you guys have us in a door frame. And my back's against one door frame, and Adrian's back is against another. and I'm like, guys, this is. I don't know. This is pretty close quarters here. And then, so we're like trying to kind of fall into it. And they were like, no, don't break
eye contact
for the shot.
This is with the two girls
It
in the
looks so
background, right?
it looks so beautiful. Don't break eye contact.
Kevin's
and
like
Adrian
shifting
and
his
our faces
eyes.
are like this close to each other. I'm like, and Adrian's like smiling, like, you want to roll the dice?
By the way,
man,
this
his
is a
face is
Farino.
so-
This is a director Julian Farino note. I had nothing to do with this.
Don't move your heads. Just stare at each other in the door frame.
Look deeply into each other's eyes.
So was it hard to act that
It
out?
was when we were laughing because it was so ridiculous.
It was very intimate.
That's
it
what
was very intimate. Yeah.
By the way,
Adrian started going like, listen, man, let's go Brokeback. You want to go Brokeback? Let's just get what they want. They want us to go Brokeback.
That's when
It was a
Brokeback
thing,
was at its peak,
Let's
too.
go Brokeback.
And we knew exactly what it meant. It meant that they wanted us to like really connect.
Adrian would look down at me at the makeup trailer and goes, "You go Brokeback?" I'm like, this feels like the time. It feels like one of those scenes where there could be a Brokeback moment in it.
well, I can tell you, I'm not sure I was on set for that particular scene, but when I watched it back recently, I mean, it does. It plays really like two best friends who are have a momentous moment in their life.
We're about to come out.
So Julian did have the right idea. But what anything else?
I was saying too, Adrian, one of the interesting things about the podcast, you know, when have you guys ever listened to the DVD commentary of any of the seasons?
Maybe a long time ago.
Right? Remember when we did those? Remember how brutal
Oh, a
it would
long
be
time
to
ago,
do? Yeah, right. So the funny thing is what time does to memories. Not in a bad way. Nobody's lying, but the way we remember things. When you would do those DVD commentaries, it was right after you shot. So all the stories and how it happened was fresh, but it's funny. It's interesting to see what people's perspective of stories are years later. Like Doug and I have been arguing about this good-looking, funny thing for 2 months.
I haven't been
everybody's
arguing.
got
I know I'm right.
Doug-
It's like almost like he turned Adrian into like this fucking brutal beast. He's like, the fuck do you know about being good looking? Like
You
it just
said
didn't
you don't
happen
know
like-
anything about being funny, and Adrian said, and you don't know anything about being good.
I think Adrian's funny, so I wouldn't say it. But
You don't know anything about being good looking.
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. by the way.
I do have to say, is this on? Still on?
Yeah.
I'm an only child, right? So I learned a lot about what it's like to have brothers with you guys, and you guys, you know, I always felt a little bit at a disadvantage because you guys are so smart and fucking fast as a whip, and you guys are on each other. So I had to practice. So I might have been practicing that line for a long time before I finally landed.
And he's like, wow, that worked.
Test this out on Doug and see how it
Doug
goes.
just walked out crying. That really
Doug's the only one that wouldn't actually come at me.
It's hysterical. What the hell was I going to say? Oh, I wanted to talk about that scene. Do you have any memories of the walk and talk in Sundance with the snowball fight? Because that was one of our most difficult shots. Do you remember what I'm talking about? It's the long walk with all of you
And it
guys.
ends with me getting
we were
hit in the face
walking
with the
down
snowball.
Right, yeah. What about it?
Do you have any memories of that? Because we shot with no crowd control. You're doing 4 pages of dialogue with 5 people where you got to rely on Piven nailing Connolly in the face with
I
the
said to
snowball.
Jeremy, you can't make that snowball
Right.
until we're halfway through the take. By the time you get there,
there's
you're throwing
ice,
an
yeah.
ice ball at me and you're going to hit me in the face.
Yeah, we had PAs making us snowballs, right?
Right,
That's
just like
yeah.
don't make it till the last second.
Right, exactly.
Until this line of dialogue.
Right.
But you can't do it before the take. Piven's throwing ice cubes
Yeah,
at
it
me.
was cold.
I saw him sticking rocks in there, too.
That's really. Did you like the walk and talks?
I loved them.
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, I mean, we would just blow through pages of dialogue.
Yeah,
and just,
shorten up our
yeah.
day.
I don't think we could have gotten through all that dialogue otherwise. I mean,
See, but that's like a memory that's been changed from Kevin Dillon, who used to go, well, "You ruined it. I want my fucking close-ups."
Well, that was about after the third episode.
Yeah.
I think I went, okay, all right.
Yeah.
I think I'm cool with that because I felt like some of the comic,
Generally speaking, we should
some
be
of
on
the
me.
comic,
We should be on
some of
me
the
for
jokes
this.
get lost.
Listen, it's a
You
definitely
lose some jokes a little bit
it
without
is
a close-up.
It is
Theory.
a definitely interesting debate because obviously putting the camera on a close up of any of you guys, but Kevin Dillon's face is always going to get laughs. But it was. I don't mean in a mean way. What
are you trying to say?
But you know what I'm saying? The choice was very real to make this thing feel real. And I think one of the reasons people watch the show over and over and over is because sometimes they didn't hear it the first time. They didn't get it. And we didn't nail them on the head like other television shows do where it's just a bunch of talking heads.
And by the way, people still loved them. I mean, I get a lot of the quotes are in a big walk and talk, like the Jess Mancini line is still landed. You know, these
That one stood the test of time. Didn't it?
still hearing about that one. That that you wrote, Doug.
That was actually a Rob
was Weiss.
Weiss
That
line.
was-
Yeah.
I got a
Animal.
what an animal, what an absolute animal. I got one. This is a really, really interesting tidbit. And I hope you guys are still friends and it's all good. But one of Adrian's very best friends, one of the Honey Brothers, which is Adrian's original band, was named Ari Gold.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
How'd that end up? What are the odds?
Yeah.
Because he was your boy.
Yeah. I feel bad about that.
About what?
But it had nothing to do with.
Oh, he didn't like it?
I think he sued Adrian, didn't he?
No.
Didn't he sue you?
Wait, was he mad about that?
No. So I was in a band called the Honey Brothers, and one of my close friends, who actually was friends with for many years before Entourage, his name is Ari Gold.
Yeah, I've met him. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
You could see how that could be a little weird. For
Yeah, but he
friendship.
can't. I mean, I didn't know the guy, so
so I get the script, and I think it's it's funny. It's like, oh, there's a character named Ari Gold. I didn't think anything of it, right?
Paying homage.
And then the show comes out, and he says, "You didn't fucking tell them that that's my name?" And I'm like, "Oh, I thought it was a nice shout out." Like, what? And he's like, "I can't." He's like, "I work in the business. I'm a filmmaker. Every time I call and I say, 'Hey, it's Ari Gold,' people hang up on me thinking I'm a prank."
I mean, I feel bad about that.
I mean,
but,
it is because it's unfortunate.
but by the way, it would have been his name would have been something. Like it would have been no matter what. But the goal.
But could you imagine if you're?
That's
Well,
really.
but I think the issue is he thought that I suggested the name.
Well, you
involved
did not.
I
I
did
thought.
not. Thank you.
To be honest with you, I thought you became friends with him because his name was Ari Gold after the show.
I really hit it off and said, "Let's start a band."
Yeah, I mean, I had no idea, but the name Ari Gold, Ari was obviously from Ari Emanuel, and Gold, the only reason his name was Gold is for the one line that Turtle said. I was obsessed with making sure it was Ari Gold because he said, "I'm going to demote you to silver at some point." Like, literally, that's why his name was Ari Gold. I would have changed it to something else without that line, but I never...
Wasn't there a litigious move by Ari Gold?
No.
Did he threaten? Was there a letter?
Not me. I mean, maybe.
Oh, I think he tried to sue HBO. Or
Yeah,
something.
that's possible.
Are you
you
still
guys
friends
friends?
with Ari Gold?
Yeah. I haven't seen him in a while. But
No one's seen Ari Gold.
Hey, speaking of the Honey Brothers, do you still play at all? Do you guys do anything, or
I haven't been playing as much.
No drums,
unfortunately.
or- huh?
Sadly, because I'm living in Texas now. So
yeah, that's a good
And-
rock and
and
roll.
this-
good
well, yeah,
rock and roll
no,
city.
That's true, but my
Austin.
studio is back in Brooklyn, so
Great Adrian.
You still got? Do you still have a place in
still
Brooklyn?
have the studio.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great Grenier quote. He says to me one day, he's like, "You know what? No better way to break up an after party than a jam session."
It's
You really want to get people out of here, start the circle going, right?
You know what's really wild? What's really wild to me is like I was so obsessed with casting authentic New Yorkers in this show, and now none of us live in New York, and none of our children are authentic New Yorkers. It's crazy. And Adrian, I mean,
My daughter is my oldest daughter.
that's true. That's true. So
These
Upstate New
guys,
York,
Adrian, Doug and Dylan have kind of confessed to having like mixed feelings about their kids being from Beverly Hills
I hate
and or
it.
Malibu.
I hate it. I despise it. When my kids say it, I get nauseous. Like I'm from Beverly Hills. I'm like, oh.
Well, I'm claiming West Hollywood, and you can always just drop the West and be like, "Listen, don't Kennedy, you're from Hollywood. Just tell me you're from Hollywood. Anybody gives you any."
By the
shit."
way, Connolly is 37 feet from the Beverly Hills border.
Tell me you're from Los Feliz.
Ridiculous.
I'm from Los Feliz. That's where you used to live, right, Age? Didn't you live in Los Feliz?
And
Yeah,
Adrian,
was a whole nother
But
set.
that's a thing I want to talk to you about because Adrian, Los Feliz, however the hell you say it, that feels more you, and you are such an authentic like artist, New York artist, and now you're in fucking Texas. I mean,
But he lives on a ranch.
I'm a pioneer, man.
But he's not a sellout anymore.
I'm not even saying he's a
Lives on a
sellout.
ranch.
I think there's something. The world changes, and New York is changing, and the culture is changing, and so tell me about your life in Texas. Like,
Yeah, I recognize that growing up in New York, it was more about just surviving that lifestyle. Learning how to just make the most of it, and then you have to, create a bit of an ego about being a New Yorker and being the best place on earth. At least better than Jersey, and I realized that I was really just missing a very fundamental part of my soul, really, which was to be more connected to nature. There's zero nature there.
Right.
So I just wanted to create a lifestyle that was, just really in touch with the earth. And
So you don't
Is
find
it,
you
is
don't
it a
fi-
ranch? You got like
got a ranch, yeah.
You got cattle and chickens.
Yeah, we got some livestock. We got
wow,
chickens.
that's great, man.
I think of you all the time.
I used to have my chickens.
Well,
When he sees the chickens, he thinks of you.
Yeah, I had 8 chickens at one stage.
Kevin, I remember during shooting would always run home to lay tile or do some roofing.
Yeah.
And I never understood that, right? But now I get to learn how to be more self-sufficient and learn some of the primal, like the skills.
Work with your hands,
to work
and
with my
build
hands,
stuff,
and be present
and
in the moment.
It feels
and
great.
Amazing.
It's a great
I mean,
feeling.
I was on an excavator all last week, moving earth.
Wow, I've never worked one of those. I'd like to check it out.
It's tricky, but a lot of fun.
Dylan said to Adrian and I know this moment too. Dylan's like, oh, well, like, what'd you do this weekend? Dylan's like, oh my God, I laid this beautiful marble line. And I had the same look, like, what do you mean? I didn't know. Well, you go and you buy it, and then you lay it out, and you do this. And I'm like, you did it yourself? He's like, oh, my buddy was there to help me, but yeah, I did it myself.
Yeah.
And then you walk back
we'd
there.
work on cars, pull engines out of cars, and rebuild them and stuff like that.
Yeah,
too. It's really satisfying.
I missed that growing up. You know, I didn't have a dad to
I
don't
did
know.
too. I kind of did too
Yeah.
because I grew up in New York as well, even though it was more suburbs. But
Well, you didn't have much of a childhood because
There
of your
was
acting
not-
career.
Well, yeah. I mean, you had zero childhood because you were doing big wheel
childhood-
commercials
your
at 3.
childhood
Adrian,
was
you're
destroyed.
You're
by
not
your
off
acting
the grid.
career.
Yeah,
Are you off the fucking
Really?
grid?
You have internet?
That's awesome.
Of
How do
course
you
he
do a
has.
podcast?
we have Starlink. Yeah.
Solar
We have
powered,
He loves the internet.
solar powered podcast.
He liked the internet before it was cool. Grenier.
We have we have solar. We have rainwater catchment. We have wells. So I mean, we do pull electricity from the city, but we don't need it if necessary.
You got guns on the ranch. I mean, could you pull
Are
like
you
a
armed?
Waco
I do live in
style?
Texas.
Are you
I live
armed?
in Texas?
Do you have to have a carrier's permit? Can you just put it on the hip?
Nope.
You just walk
Walk
into
in.
the store.
Yeah, walk out.
I put it in the back of my pickup truck in case anyone fucked with me.
Jesus.
Dylan.
Well, I think you can carry it on your hip.
I'm just kidding.
We should have
I
taken.
think Dylan
we should
might
have
have been
taken some
part of that
fan
match.
questions.
I
That
love
was
the
a
idea
mistake.
of this. This idea is great. I've
I would-
always wanted to live this kind of lifestyle. What he's talking
It's not
about.
too late, Dylan.
I've dreamed about
I'm
it.
gonna do it one of these
I've
days.
dreamed about it.
I was thinking about upstate New York, though. I just love the greenery. And
Yeah, I just didn't
lot of
want
lakes
the
and-
winters.
yeah,
winters
I
and-
hear you on that.
And the
Yeah.
ticks.
Yeah, Lyme's
A lot of
disease.
ticks there.
So, Adrian, you had a very successful Netflix show last. God, I can't even keep track anymore. Last year or the year before, Clickbait. Are you still acting?
Yeah, yeah.
So, all right. So you're.
In fact, there are 2 movie studios probably 10, 15 minutes from my house. So, I mean, Austin is really booming right now.
Local hire.
A lot of tech is coming out to
Local hire.
Austin.
You work at a local hire.
You know, you guys may move the podcast out there.
Believe me, I've thought about moving a lot. I don't know what I want to do. but-
Why don't you? I mean, if you're embarrassed about Beverly Hills, what's stopping you?
The only thing that's stopping me from leaving LA right now is, well, obviously we have a new show. We'll see
Victory
if
the
it goes.
podcast.
And I can't leave Connolly because God knows what would happen to him. But also, I have 2 older kids who are west. One's in Arizona, one's in Chapman. So I just want to see what happens with them. But I'm ready to move. I've had enough here, you know. So, and I'm never. I mean, I think you guys all know.
Well,
this. I
I'll
was
tell you
never-
what, Doug, come visit me. You
would
try it
love
on
to.
for size.
I would love to.
Now, have you
I'll
felt
give you
the
some
Hollywood?
assless chaps, and I'll put you on a donkey.
Yeah, there you go.
By the way, that was,
I got Dylan real excited.
Oh, I like a nice donkey.
I could have done without that visual that actually popped into my head.
Nobody
for a second.
forced you to visualize it.
By
you
the way,
sick
how
pervert.
weird is that? And I'm in
Assless chaps.
excellent shape right now, so I don't know what you're upset about. So, yeah.
So it became the spot for Hollywood. You were kind of on the forefront of it, but is it a little bit like looking around like, wow, okay, or a bunch of people moved out there? during
What's the
the
spot for Hollywood?
like a lot of people from Hollywood
Austin.
kind of set
Austin.
up
Oh,
shop
yeah,
in that
yeah.
area,
A
which
little
is
hottie.
probably a touchy thing for the diehard, the OGs, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, I didn't love it when everyone started moving.
Right.
Partly initially, I was like, oh, yeah, finally people are seeing how cool Austin is.
Right.
And now it's just like, all right, guys, stop already. There's like too many of you already. And then, but that's okay. I mean, I live off, outside of Austin and live on many acres, and I'm married now, and I'm just very focused, head down, just. I don't have to go to the city if I don't need to.
So what's a day? What? Give me an Adrian Grenier
Gotta
day.
feed the chickens.
Yeah,
gotta
yeah.
Bring the eggs in.
There you
gotta-
go. Yeah.
Do you eat off the land?
Yeah. We have our annual garden, so we're growing food to eat, and then we have chickens. We have 2 goats. One's a baby, so baby's bottle fed. I have to go and feed the baby, and then feed the animals. And
Are you vegetarian?
I'm not. No. Mm-mm. no.
So do you feed the
eventually-
goat and then eat it? I mean,
Eventually, I do want to have meat goats, yes. But we're going to start with milk goats for milk and cheese and yogurt, dairy. Mm-hmm.
cows?
I mean,
You
by
got
the way,
cattle?
we should have all gone to Austin and done his podcast there. That would.
I was saying all along we should do.
You did get the invite.
Yeah, Connolly, he's so anxious. You can't really get into a travel plan with him. It's very.
Oh, because you're so fun to. You guys are so fun to travel with.
I
Like, what are you
mean,
talking
How
about?
dare you? I having fun today.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll say you're always invited, and we can pitch tents and sleep
I'm
in.
pitching a tent right now, thinking about it. Sorry, you set me up, bro.
I mean, you walked right into that one, Dylan. If
What
you
was I
didn't,
supposed
if you
to
didn't
do
say
with
it, I was
that?
going to cue you under the table.
I want to know if
Fire that
Adrian
one
was
up.
there when Dylan slid down the biggest escalator in the world.
No, he wasn't there.
Oh, in London. Did you hear
Dude,
about this?
I've done that successfully so many times.
He
That was
almost
a
broke
nightmare.
his arm on the way to Dubai or the way back.
Actually,
On the way back.
Adrian, you probably remember when we were at the Pacific Design Center.
Yeah.
I slid down the escalator on film.
Yeah, but this one is
But
5 times.
they were
the
so
size.
far away, you could barely see the great move I did.
But this one was 5 times the
The
size.
problem was someone was coming up on the other side and leaned in on me and just screwed up the whole ride.
What an asshole.
Scary, bro.
Yeah.
What
Fell,
an
huh?
asshole.
Scary,
So,
though.
all right, what else
He
you
was
guys
cut.
got?
We had to get a medical. We had to buy a med box, a medical box, and wrap
I
his
cut
hand.
my
in
hand.
gauze.
What else you guys got? Because we got Adrian Grenier's podcast, Earth Speed, that we're doing next out in nature. I don't. Kevin.
I
Collins
just want to say
yeah,
this,
Kevin.
Adrian. I'm against this straw as well. This is Gary Goldman brought this in here. Thank you, Gary. I do appreciate you grabbed me a Coke, though.
When Katie walked in, you guys talked about nice of you to join us. That was a big thing.
That was a big thing. Whenever someone was late, nice of you to join.
Now is that
We'd all-
is that an
we'd all
entourage
take it.
specific thing or is that?
Oh, yeah,
sets?
totally.
Really?
Right. Well, it started with but the minute we got it into a group thing, people started to get sensitive about it. So if
I think there was a director that originally said, "Nice of you to join us," and
Sounds
that
like
became
Adius.
It could have been Adius.
but like we'd be sitting in the van and we'd be waiting for somebody, and they would get in the van and we'd be like, "Nice of you to join us." And
Everyone
then-
at once would all say it at once.
But
like
then
10
it was
people.
somebody, and it might have been maybe Piven that didn't go over well. Or,
Oh yeah.
or maybe-
Jeremy didn't like that.
Or maybe Jerry. I don't know.
No, Jerry
we hit a
was cool.
crew. Everybody in the crew hit them with it. Nice of you to join us, and it just laid there. And whoever it was, probably Piven.
Yeah, I
It's
think so.
probably Piven.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't in on the jokes.
You know
he
what,
didn't like
guys,
the alarm
the real-
clock. Remember the alarm clock?
What was the alarm clock?
Grenier gave him an alarm.
What?
Talk about a joke that didn't go over well.
What was that
My
one?
goodness, he was late and he gave him an alarm clock. A box. It's terrible.
That's awesome.
Adrian's got a little fire that
I love
sometimes
it. I
doesn't
love
come
it.
out. Well, guys, we really
Like a alarm clock, but like a red. I mean, it was
like one of those old fashioned.
I even said like, "Are you sure about this bit, bro? This could,
This might not go
this
over.
could go sideways. This bit could go sideways."
Well, guys, I want to take a minute. We had honestly, we did. We had a magical time with just a bunch of guys who really did love each other and women and everybody, and with the exception of a couple of people on the show, we had just an amazing cast, crew, and what a run! And
Yes.
it is never going to end.
We
'cause
got
are
to all
gonna
do
live
this
on
again,
forever.
though, with Jerry, though, because
Yeah.
we need the
would've been
four
great.
of us, but we needed this time right now with Adrian.
Because Jerry also remembers everything. Jerry's got the memory of an
Elephant brain.
elephant. He will remember that story.
The alarm clock.
No. You don't know anything about being good looking, and you don't know anything
Oh my
about
God!
being funny.
You weren't
I think
there.
Jerry was there.
wasn't there. It was in Adrian's trailer.
Let's
it was
ask Jerry.
nothing in the. You can
Let's
ask
Jerry.
fucking
But I'm
Jerry
saying that
Springer.
The
He wasn't
story,
there
right, is
either.
the
It doesn't
story
matter.
spilled out from base camp.
It didn't spill anywhere. I was me and Adrian alone.
I had my ear to the street. Bro.
Again, what I
know
want to
what's
say is, Adrian, Connolly has got this desperate need to portray you as the ball buster that you aren't. That is not a knock on Adrian, and that is not a knock on me. Number one, I'm very comfortable with my looks. He is better looking than all of us. There's nothing to fucking say about it. He just.
Well, I mean,
but you know,
maybe you haven't looked to your right lately. I'm not talking about Connolly over there.
but we really did. We had such a great time.
Oh, so fun.
And, maybe we will run it back. I don't know. I think there is a future for us. And hopefully, Adrian, if Ramble On, which I we're on the goal line. We hope it happens. Hopefully you'll
Can
come
you
work
tell
with
me
us.
what? Is there a log line for
Well,
Ramble
you're
On?
looking at Ramble
I
On.
like it. Is there a log line?
You are looking. You were.
log
By the way,
line.
there is a log line, but I can't pitch the full log line right now because I've rewritten it so many times from the pitches we did last week. But this is it. You're looking at it. It is Kevin Connolly, former actor, retires to start a podcasting business and counts on schmucks like Kevin Dillon to save his business. And that's where we're at. Charlie Sheen, Martin Sheen, Emmanuel did a little thing for us. Jamie Lynn Siegler and
John McGinley,
and we had a great time shooting it, and we're hoping to move forward.
Can I get 2 words in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, get in.
Are you going to come back? Are you going to
You're
come
gonna
work
run
with
it
us?
back.
Will
Get
you
in.
come do it with us? If you, I know Adrian.
Oh, got
he's
it.
got to like the part. He's got to like what it is. And
After the AI thing,
We're going
I
to
don't
keep you
blame
there for a couple
digging
months,
a
and then
little
we'll figure out something for you.
yeah, exactly. Put yourself up in Beverly Hills, and then we'll get there. Right?
Yeah, I'd love to read it.
Yeah.
I had one
We can
more
show you the
thought.
trailer right after this.
Oh man, we could talk for hours. We could.
Well,
Meanwhile, you
Oh,
have
I know.
nothing to
I know what
say.
I wanted to ask you. Have you kept in? Who do you talk to? Emmanuel Perry. Like, is there anybody that you keep in touch with?
From time to time, yeah. Jerry and I bonded a lot over during COVID, which was unique. I guess because he had moved to Ohio, or he was in Boston. Was it Boston?
Ohio.
Ohio,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So we bonded a few times, and Shariki DMs here and there, and a lot of social media, but nobody in person. I haven't seen anybody in years.
I saw Carla the other night. She's great.
all right, she's
Leave
awesome.
that out of the
Yeah, man.
equation.
It just
Carla
came up. a couple
Gugino, where'd you
seconds
see her?
ago. Saw her at, I don't know, some party, but Emmanuel, still I talk to all the time. Emmanuel and my girlfriend are like super tight, which is always kind of weird. Always kind of weird, Like, well, it'd be funny. That would be funny in the show. Because they get along, the two of them get along better than it's amazing.
Better than
It's
you
great.
and either of them?
I'm just saying, like, it's just they have a real friendship, which is cool.
I love that you saw Carla. I mean, now
haven't
we're
seen
going
Perry
back,
in
but
years.
I mean, do you remember your scenes with Carla? I mean, Carla to me is like an Academy Award winning actress at some point, and know what's going to happen.
The right role's gonna
I've
come
seen her
along,
live on
some
Broadway
indie.
twice. She's a freaking genius. I mean, do you remember some of those scenes with Carla?
Yeah, actually, Carla and I got along really well. She's one of my favorite people.
Yeah.
Awesome human.
Yeah.
And yeah, I wanted those characters. I wanted more from that.
Yeah.
That duo.
What about Billy Walsh?
I know what you're
Reese
saying,
Corrigan?
Adrian. I know what you're saying. I know what you're hitting
You ever
me
see
with.
Reese?
Haven't seen Reese. No, but he's doing well. It seems.
Great,
Yeah.
man. He's exactly.
He's living in Atlanta now, right?
He lives
think
outside
so.
of Atlanta.
Yeah, he's got like 7 children. I mean, it's so weird though, because it does it not feel like high school? Like you see your best friends, and
Well,
it's
he
like
looks exactly
nothing
the same as
changed.
well.
And I'm really glad we got to do this, and I'm excited to do Adrian's podcast, Earth Speed.
Yeah.
Is it on the Earth Speed channel or is it called Earth Speed?
Earth Speed is the it's the show. It's the series, and then I'm doing a number of sub series, like little series focused on different topics.
And what can
So
we look
where
forward
do
to?
we fall under?
Yeah, what are you going to do to us on this podcast?
We're going to talk about being fathers and men's work and what it means to be a man in modern times.
Like Dylan knows.
Oh yeah, I know. You have no idea. You know what though, Adrian? You'll be proud. The 3 of us all drive electric cars. So,
But Adrian,
I've always been
Adrian
really-
is probably now.
Aren't they
onto
forcing you to?
They're bad. Then you can't
I've
recycle
always
the
been-
batteries.
Can we talk about that? Because I posted about it. Look, you would know more about it. I bought an electric car 1,000,000% because I thought I was doing good for the environment. Now I see things that I don't know the truth. That they're getting medals with children slaves all around the world, that they can't recycle the batteries. And obviously you need electricity to power these things. Is an electric car the right move or not?
of course it is.
I mean, it's very complicated. I think that we need all options on the table, and we need cheap, available energy.
Right.
And sometimes renewables don't meet that criteria.
Right.
Although I'm a proponent of new technologies and supporting the innovation, sometimes the reality is they just don't cut it.
Right. And it really is, Kevin. There's so many people with so much money at stake with all this stuff that they do. They come out, they guilt you, they convince you that this is the right move.
It
and
is
then
the right move, Doug. It's the right move. We'll find other ways to figure
it's
out how to make energy through nuclear.
There you go.
Possibly, which I think is a great idea, but also, hydroelectric, wind.
I think the thing,
solar. I mean, there's a lot of ways to make electricity.
I think,
but we can't keep pumping that shit into the atmosphere, man. It's just,
but it still pumps.
But that's where you're getting electricity currently is through coal.
Well, a lot of it is.
So when you drive your electric car, you're getting it mostly from coal.
I think selfish,
but that's going to be the problem.
The selfish answer, I think there's no doubt if everyone was driving electric cars in Los Angeles would be cleaner. But somewhere else in the world won't be. And so
but you'd also suffer economically.
Yeah.
Which then there'd be other trade-offs in terms of quality.
And
of
I
life.
suffered driving to Arizona because it was a fucking nightmare. Like once you get past the 300-mile marker trip, it's like you're adding so much excess time to it. And if I was doing good for the environment and everybody was breathing better, I would do it. But when people come out with the real facts that we don't have the exact answers yet, and there are so many people pushing things for their own financial benefits, I don't know. Anyway, everybody should do as good as they can. Be good to yourself. Be good to your family. And
I'll be honest, I love not getting gas.
Well, that's
I love it. I love the electric.
The selfish version of that, of course. I love plugging in at home, but I
love the performance, man. They're fantastic.
The speed is incredible. But anyway, okay, we're gonna do Adrian's podcast called Earth Speed. Where can everyone find out wherever you find your podcast?
YouTube and Instagram.
When does it drop? When does it drop?
Our episode?
Yeah.
Actually, you're going to be the premiere episode on this new series.
Launching it.
Yeah.
Nice.
And you'll help me come up with a name for it, in fact.
Okay.
Excellent. All right. Victory the podcast. Adrian Grenier is back. We've had now every single person that we care about on this show pretty much has shown up, and Debbie Mazar is our last to ask. For some reason, she doesn't like us. She actually doesn't like us.
Yeah, and so all you fans of Entourage out there who keep DMing me to do the podcast, I have done the podcast. Leave me the fuck alone.
Give the guy a break.
Victory!
That was great.